are you guys doing? Guess what? It's another phenomenal day. And you know what we do here? It's Bouqui'S Place. Welcome to Bouqui'S Place. We don't talk about the glit or the glam. We talk about the grit and the grind. And we bring your favorite people to share their stories, to share their journey, so that they can practically equip you with tools and resources that you need to do destiny. And in the building today, we have the one and only, the phenomenal veteran actor, Richard Mofe-Damijo, RMD. Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll for the one and only.
Hey, Bouquie.
I am super excited. How are you?
I'm well, and you? How are you?
I'm chilling. Thank you for asking. It is
Good,
so
good.
good to see you.
Well, it's good to see you after such a long time,
I know. The last time, no, you were on my radio show, Bouqui'S Place in LA, but it was over the phone.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right. That's right.
You
That's right.
always honored me, and I thank you so much. God will honor you in Jesus' name. God bless you.
Amen. 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 You was honoring. I mean, you hold your space, you hold it down all the time. You're a positive young woman, so you was honoring. I'll do it over and over again.
Oh, thank you. Can I have some love, some drum roll, some heart for Richard, guys? Let's go. Thank you so much. So
Thank
we're just
you.
getting
Yes.
into it because I know you're a storyteller. We're just gonna dive straight into it. So Bouqui'S Place is about equipping people in a world
Mm,
where everybody's talking about things that don't matter. What we do here
mm,
is we take our pain so that people can see that this person I love so much went through all that and they didn't give up. I have no excuses. I have to get up, dust myself off, and do destiny. So it's about ordinary people in their ordinary lives doing extraordinary things.
Another thing. That's right.
Yeah, instead of giving them 7 ways to succeed, 15 keys, 77 laws of we just share our stories and we tell them, but when I went through this, this was how I made it through. So when I shut up now, you're just going to talk about your story from the beginning, the grit, the grind, the tears, the hard work, and the recipe that made the soup. Richard Mofe-Damijo, we want to hear it. So welcome to Bouqui'S Place.
Well, thank you for having me at Bouquie's Place. Listen, I love to tell stories. Um, I wouldn't even know how to start, but here's here's what I like to drop. Earlier today, I went to do the COVID test because I'm supposed to be going on set into a movie set, and it's part of the protocol these days to have a COVID test before you can go into a movie set. So I was sharing with younger actors how I started, because some of them don't know my journey. So I was saying to him that when I came to Lagos in 1984, 36 years ago, I was living with my elder sister who was living way around Ojo, which is towards Badagry. And because I needed to hustle to look for roles and all of that within the National Theatre and NTA and all that, and the distance between my house and, of course, this place is where I have to hustle, I had to be squatting with somebody who was squatting with somebody who was squatting in Unilag, in the lecturers' quarters, in the BQ in the lecturers' quarters, I was a squatter to the third person, So there were days when I would finish working during the weekend. I would act. I would do master of ceremony and all that. I would drive with my friend to Bar Beach when we didn't have any place to stay, because sometimes because of the timing, we finish around 3 or 4 a.m. We can't start driving towards Unilag, or me start driving towards Ojo. We'll drive to Bar Beach. We'll join the fishermen who used to do bonfire in drums, and just lay by them and sleep till the morning about 7 a.m. when the sun is really up. And then we'll get into the cab, and we'll drive to Unilag to continue sleeping wake up around 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. to start the hustle again. And they were just looking at me. So I said to them, look, I have worked for 36 years non-stop after graduation. I'm going to be 60 next year. But the thing is, I love the process. I love every time I have found myself in a difficult situation, I just know that it is the process that I have to go through to get to where I want to be. I've been in auditions where, these young folks now, they do auditions online. They hold their phones and do auditions. We used to go to auditions where we'll be like over 500 people in an open field or in an open space, and they'll be passing scripts. They'll say, you read, you have 1 second. Sometimes before you open your mouth to read a line, they'll say, pass it on to the next person. Wow. Pass it on to the next person. So you practically had like 1 second to open your voice and be heard. And those are the kind of auditions that I went to. And, as God will have it, I used to put in the work before I go into the audition. I was successful in one of these auditions, and the minute I kept saying to myself that the day I get a chance to climb a stage in Lagos, that is the day Lagos will know that there is a new kid on the block. And that was exactly what happened. When I climbed the stage here in Lagos, I did not look back again. One more life nugget I'd like to drop here also is that my mother used to say to me that our people, Orobo people, they say it is the name you give to your rapper that people will call it. So I have always put premium and value on the work that I do. I know that the only thing I have to exchange for value is what is inside of me, what resides inside of me. And each time I have had to do that, I put in the work first. And so when opportunity meets the work, you just go. So I have always said to myself, I know what I have. I know what I carry. I know I can do this work. I know I can act. I know I can do creative work. The day anybody comes to my path and gives me a chance to express myself, either through writing or through acting, I will make sure I don't disappoint. 36 years later, I still get excited over every role that I have, whether it's a small role or a lead role. And, some of the actors ask me all the time, why do you still want to do this? Why do you get excited over? I said, because it is what I love. It is what I know that sort of defines me. It is the work that I do. I want to be able to come to the party and say, this is who I am and this is what I bring to the table. And you've got to respect what I bring to the table.
Wow. Yeah. Uncle Richard, I'm going to just share something with the people. Okay. You people must know something that we don't know. Because there must be some secrets that the older generation may know. Because let me tell you, I've been having this show about young people, old people from Roncanali to Panampasipo, and I see a trend with the older people. They're ready. I called you and you were seated 10 minutes before the show. You said, I'm ready. They're no shade to anybody, but the young folks I bring, they're still like, yo, man, like, yo, let me just give me 10 minutes. And I'm thinking, you said you were ready when opportunity meets preparation. Talk to us about being ready, because some people think that it's when the opportunity comes that you get ready. Talk to us about the process before the door opens.
Well, I'm an actor. An actor's life is about being prepared, being ready. We're like Boy Scouts. Every acting experience is like being in a boot camp. It's good you talked about punctuality. Reminds me of the song, Punctuality is the soul of business. I like to be punctual. It is a mark of the seriousness that I attach to whatever it is that I'm doing. If I'm not going to do it, then I will tell you I won't do it. But if I say I'm going to do it, and you ask me to show up at 10, I will show up 10 minutes before, so I can calm down, prepare myself, be ready mentally. So by the time I jump into it, I would have been ready. I would have calmed my nerves, and if the nerves are not calm, I will ride them until they are calm or until I master them.
Yeah.
So an actor's life is about preparation. You are taught to prepare, to rehearse, to practice and practice. You don't have to be a genius to shine. You can be an average Joe. But if you are an average Joe, if you know that there is work to be put in, then you put in the work. Because when you start putting in the work and you do the repetition, you practice muscle memory, memory recall, spirit of discernment. And I'm a Christian man. I don't know if I'm supposed to
Oh,
not to
yes,
say that,
what?
but I'm a Christian man. I don't apologize for it. So I do all of that. If I need to be physical, I'll be physical. I'll give you an example. I'm working on a film right now. Before the lockdown in March, I was 115 kg. As I speak to you now, Bouquie, I've dropped 14 kg. I'm supposed to shoot in October. I'm supposed to drop 15 kg before October. I've already achieved my goal right in September, because I want to tell myself that no matter what happens between now and October, I will be physically, mentally, and emotionally ready. So sometimes when I post stuff, I say the process, enjoying the process. It is the preparation that gets you ready for that time that you shine. You can't just wake up and say, oh, I have it in me. So once you call me, I'll get it. That is not the reason why a LeBron James practices more, works on his body much more than rookies that are coming into the game. That is not what Ronaldo, who is 30 something, that's not why he has the body of a 20-year-old kid still playing football. That is not why Messi, puts in the practice that he does. That is not why all the great stars and geniuses at what they do put all the work in. I'll tell you something about a young man I love that I found out about his work routine. Davido, every young person I have seen around him, they tell you one thing: that guy doesn't sleep. I was trying to get that guy doesn't sleep. I was trying to get an interview from him because I'm doing a documentary on a Nigerian legend, and I needed to hear his views about a Nigerian legend. And in the process, I was waiting for him to come back to Nigeria. The day he got back to Nigeria, at the tarmac, he took off his shirt. His video crew was already there. He started recording a musical video. I mean, I kept trying to get him, and his lawyers just kept saying to me, man, the guy's in the studio. He knows he needs to do this. He needs to do that. He needs to do, it just tells you that sometimes it is not just sitting down on your butt that makes you successful. It is the amount of preparation that you put into what it is that you desire. I desire to be a fantastic actor. I desire to be a good actor. I desire to be a good father. I desire to be a good husband. I desire to be a good business person. And every one of them calls for certain discipline of the mind. And I make sure that I put that in to be able to get the things, to be able to be a good husband or a good father to my kids, or to be a good actor and all of that. So I don't see how on earth that I will sleep and wake up, know what my purpose is, and don't work to achieving that purpose. And over and above everything else, I enjoy making sure that I work when in that process, in finding that purpose or working, getting ready to for destiny, to confront my destiny. I make sure I put in the work so that nothing takes me unawares.
Wow. You're mentioning keywords. You're talking about purpose. You're talking about preparation. You're talking about destiny. I mean, these are things that a lot of people don't understand. They just feel, and okay, so I went to school in Hollywood. I did acting and production and filmmaking and all that. And my teacher would say, there are no small roles. They're just
Yes, only small actors.
yeah,
That's right. That's right.
you
That's right.
have to, and a lot of people despise platforms because they think, oh, this platform doesn't have what I need. Talk to us about you know, not despising whatever it is. They might just give you a role to just take the cup and give it to someone, and then it might be there that someone will see you and say, I like the way she dropped the cup. But if you despised it looking, and that's comparison. So talk to us about comparison, especially in the age of, you know, social media, where you are looking at this person, you have a dream in your heart, you take your little dream, which is a seed, and you compare it to someone else's full-blown tree, and in your mind you fall short, and you're like, nah, I'm just gonna throw this dream away because it can never be like that.
Listen, we all have our parts, okay? Somebody, a wise person once said that comparison is the mother of all unhappiness. All right? I'll say that again. Comparison is the mother of all unhappiness. So, you know, the fact that I'm here and Denzel, for instance, who I look up to, who I adore, is in Hollywood, doesn't in any way diminish the work that I'm doing here. His bigger opportunities, a career and limelight and all of that can only be an inspiration for me to want to do even more within my space and aspire and hope that maybe one day I'll have the opportunity to be also for our paths to cross, so that I can also be in his space. So be on your lane, you know, stay in your lane, do your thing, you know, and make sure, as long as you have your goals and you have your purpose and you have earmarked what it is that you are looking for in life, once you know that once you are on the path that will take you there, it is about mastering every step you take until you get to that final place. You know, earlier on I talked about being still excited about getting a role. It's funny that you mentioned it. Really and truly, there are no small roles. I'll give you a live example. There's a young actress that I admire a lot. Her name is Bisola. She's a Nigerian actor. And she got a part in, I think it was Chief Daddy or something like that, where she was working with her mom and she was sleeping on duty. All right. And the mom woke her up in the film, and she woke up, and in that state of confusion and all of that, I sat down in the hall. As I'm speaking to you now, I have goose flesh. I sat down during the premiere watching that film, and I'm saying, oh my God, she just stole the film. She just stole the entire film with 5-10 seconds of screen time. That is a live example of how there are no small parts. I am a filmmaker. I keep saying to myself, I am writing the script. I'm waiting for that perfect script that I will go and talk to that young lady one day, and I say to her, I want to be in a film with you, you know, because I have seen your work. I've seen what you can do. I follow her on Instagram. I see what she does, but I can tell that nobody has even scratched the surface of that girl's talent. Wow. And how did I find out about that talent? A few seconds of screen time in the same movie that I was in. So it doesn't matter how big the next actor's role is or the next actress's role is. Stay in your lane. Whatever you're given to do it like your life depends on it. And you can never tell. And it doesn't matter whether or not you have only 2 followers or 10 followers or 1 million followers on Instagram. The day that you're genius, that you will find that thing that you need to do, when you drop that genius of a work or of a piece in your space with your 2 followers, trust me, one of them will see it, like it, retweet it or repost it, and then you will be on your own path to greatness. There's another live example I love to give. There's a young lady, her name is Real Worry Pikin. She's on Instagram as well. She is when she laughs or when she smiles, the whole world smiles with her. This was a young talent that started out on Instagram and giving props to people that needed to be given props to and all that, just doing her thing. Today, she's a brand influencer that is making a lot more money than the people that she met there that gave her shout outs and all of that. I use her as a teaching point all the time, because it tells me that when you carry When you carry your genius with you, it is light. Intelligence is light. God's blessings is light. When you carry it with you, no matter how dark your path is, when you begin to walk it, it shines, it goes before you. It's like a lamp, you know, or it's like a light on the hilltop. It's like a beacon, you know. So people will see it, they will find it, and they will confluence at it, and they will make you that star that you deserve to be. It doesn't matter where you start from. From the guttermost, you can get to the uppermost.
Wow.
I mean, if anybody told Barack Obama when he was a child that, oh, one day you will be the president of this country, of the greatest country on earth, nobody will believe. You know, there are stories that abound about people with humble beginnings and all of that. I mean, what would life be like without stories of humble beginnings? I mean, our Lord Jesus Christ, how humble a beginning can you get? You know, not born in a special hospital, nothing. You know, in a manger where sheep abide. So it doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is, whether you have enough education or not. If you carry light in your head, if you carry intelligence in your head, if you carry genius in your head, anything that it is that you carry that is positive, that will impact mankind, you know, and make mankind better, if you keep honing it, if you keep walking your path, you will get there.
Wow. If you keep working. Listen, I'm thinking about battles. There are battles from the outside. You can tackle the battles on the outside. That's okay, because now you can say, leave me alone, I'll give you karate and all that. That's on the outside. But what do you do? Because you're talking about the light in your mind, and we have only one engine room to deal with, right? That's our mind. So whatever comes is coming to the mind. So what do I do if I want to have light in my mind, but my engine room is messed up because of situations, circumstances, and words that have been spoken to me that make me second guess myself? Give us an example of when that happened to you and how you overcame it, and just advise us generally how to stop, because the battle from the outside I can fight, but what do I do with the battles, the voices that tell me I'm not good enough?
Look, I'm sure you know, mental health is like a big deal. It is a lot. I have had personal battles and personal losses that have, you know, sort of wrecked me. I was very close to my mother, and I was 35 when I lost my first wife, and my life stopped, practically stopped. People will come during the day and they will come to greet me and all of that. I will smile, I will shake hands, I will sit with them, and gradually it's a pattern. At 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, it starts to thin out, and the last person, out of courtesy, drags his feet or her feet, and finally by 9 o'clock, everybody is gone. And you go back to the same room because you have not been able to leave the place. You go back to the same room and you are confronted with everything that you're dealing with. How did I get through that? Like I said, I'm a Christian man. I knew that help could only come from above, because when you are, like you said, when you are messed up, when your engine room is messed up, you have to look for what is higher than your engine room, or what ignites your engine room, or what gave birth to your engine room, or what it is that you pay homage to. And for me, it was a very vertical relationship, and I surrendered completely, and I said, God, I can't deal with this. You know, you have to help me to deal with it. And so he lined men and women. People will come, drop a book for me, drop some words for me, cassette or something. Listen to this CD. Oh, I read this good book the other day. Read this, or you know. And then I listened to a lot of music, a lot of, you know, spiritual music and all that. So that really sort of calmed me. I knew this because at a point when they used to do, like, when a lot of people would come, they would just start worshiping, singing and praising God downstairs. And I discovered that when they're doing that, if I don't join them, I can stay in my room and I'll just sleep off. So that I discovered that, and so I used to just play a lot of music even after they leave, and that helped to soothe me. And then right after that, when I found some strength, I threw myself into work. It was therapy for me. So I started looking for all the things. Listen, I went to law school. After I lost my wife. I kept looking for the thing. Yes. I went to study law in Unilag after I lost my wife. I was looking for anything that will drag me because I'm very focused. And because I don't like to fail in anything that I do, when I took it on in Unilag, I said to myself, you know what? You're going to do this and you're going to do it well. You're not doing it to just pass the time. No, you're going to do it, have good grades, and, be a good lawyer, the one that your mom always wanted you to be, So I did that. I was working, and at the same time I was going to Unilag for evening law, and that really helped me. Really helped me to find my feet and all of that. So not everybody is a Christian, for instance, but if you have a way with God, if you have a communication with God, you can surrender and just let him work with you, and also start to enrich your minds with things that can also elevate you from where you are. It is easy to just give into depression. It is very easy. It is the easiest thing to do, just lie down and just forget the world. You're just like, I want to be left alone. In fact, there was a point I kept saying to people around me, I really don't mind if you guys don't come. I just want to be left alone. I just want to mourn. And, it got to a point where people were like, no, you can't be left alone. But I said, but really, truly, I'm good. I just want to be left alone. I needed time to absorb the thing and go through the emotion and then come out of it, when I'm good and ready. And that was what I did. I found a rhythm eventually, and I discovered that work could help me get over it, and having something to focus on that would drive me crazy if I fail in it will help me too. And that was how I threw myself into work. I threw myself into study, and I'm better for it today.
Wow. What you said, everything you talked about is due process, and there's no way you can jump a step. There's no way you can jump a step. I want you to talk to people that are hurting, because you said you went through that hurt and you healed, and then you could, express yourself. I want you to talk to people that react out of hurt. They never take time to heal, and then they throw themselves into work, because you said you had to take time off, heal, and then you even use the work you got into to get healed, But talk to people with not even scars. A scar is a wound that's healed, right? They're wounded, and because of that, you know what they say, hurt people hurt people. So if you're hurting, no matter what you do, you're gonna continue hurting people. I want you to talk about the process of making sure your heart is whole before you even jump into whatever you want to do.
Look, it's different for everybody. I mean, I cannot even begin to legislate on how this works for everybody. What works for me might not work for everybody else. But here's what it is. No matter what hurts you are going through, unless you have given up, which in itself is a very hard thing to do, because you might give up today and tomorrow you wake up feeling different. So the thing really to do is to have real good introspection. You need to have time for yourself to look deep down into you. There are questions that you are going to ask yourselves, or there are questions that will come up. What do you want to do? What would if you have kids, what would your kids have you do? What are you going to do about your kids? If you have family still around? How does my staying in this state, affect everybody else around me? Do I want to stay in isolation and just make everybody else uncomfortable, or I want to truly and really give this a try and see if I can find healing, if I can heal in the process? So when you have human support, when you have support of your community, of your church or your family and all that, so long as you are in constant communication with them and they are in constant communication with you, empathizing with you and egging you on at points where your strength is low and you need some encouragement and all of that, it begins to become a bit easier. There are people who react by shutting down the rest of the world, shutting out the rest of the world from having access to them. That is very serious. I mean, there are people who even go into drugs, who they seek things that will give them instant, high or make them forget instantly, and that's when they run away from the pain so fast that they want to have quick fixes as opposed to really going through some organic process of healing. I would always recommend organic process of healing, making sure that you use family support, church, God, everything that you can, everything that is higher, that you look up to, that you respect. Connecting with the things that are a lot more positive, that will give your life meaning and definition, more than the things that will make you depressed. So like I said, it's hard to come to the place where you can say these are the things that you must do to get out of it. But once there is a willingness to want to get back into life or get back into living again, then you are going to have to lend yourself to that process of either going at it gradually, letting people in. If you want to seek professional help, there are people who have, better training than you and I, that can deal with trauma, that can advise you on better ways to deal with trauma. Because of this society we live in here in Nigeria, we're a lot more caged in. Once you say you are going to Yaba left, that's how we call it in Lagos. Yeah, Yaba left. The psychiatric hospital is on the left. Yeah. So the fear of stigmatization and all of that becomes a problem, and so people are a lot more locked in and caged in. Earlier today, again, when I was sharing with those young actors, when we were trying to go through the COVID test, I was just asking, I said, why have we somehow managed to stigmatize people with COVID-19? How did we get to the point where if I have COVID, it becomes a problem? It becomes a social problem. We let ourselves get trapped by some of our cultural and traditional norms that with time, should have changed. I mean, a lot of things have changed. Technology liberated us from a lot of things. Science liberated us from a lot of things. We don't need anybody telling us anymore that twins are evil. So if you're still living in the times where you say, somebody that has an albino or albinism is a problem from the gods, we can't begin to still live like that. And so we use that same kind of mindset to adjudge a simple virus, or a virus I can't call COVID a simple virus, but a virus that you get affected, that has come to it has morphed into some kind of malaria symptom-like thing in Nigeria. It cannot be something we can begin to stigmatize people with. So when people are going through pain and trauma in Nigeria, they don't want to seek help. If there is professional help available, and you can seek that, you do that. I went through it organically. Church was a great support for me. Brothers and sisters, books, my pastor, people prayed for me. People sent me CDs, tapes, books. And I went through all of that. And then I was also able to have some private time with myself and cry my heart out. And then when I was ready and good to come out, I came out and I'm like, yeah, okay, so what
That's good.
next? What will she have me do if it was the reverse? What would she be saying to herself now? She can't follow me or I can't follow her. So what would she have me do? You know, dust up yourself and go have a life and live. Make sure you take care of our daughter, take care of the kids, take care of the family that you left behind and all of that. So when I was good and ready, I did that. Today, knowing what I know now, if I have issues that are too much for me to deal with and there is professional help, I won't even think about it twice. I will go straight ahead and get professional help. You know.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. You mentioned some very key things. You said find an incentive, maybe not in the exact words, but you have to find
Yeah.
an incentive to get out of that dump. You
Yeah.
know,
That's right.
you know
That's right.
how when you cry,
Something to live for.
you know how when you cry and you're crying because you're crying after the fact, you're not crying and they're crying, you know, you're just crying so we can be engulfed in self-pity. You talked about
Yeah.
incentive. You talked about the team around you.
Yes. Very
Because
essential. Very
yeah, a lot
essential.
of people have wrong people around them. And the thing about the space around you is the more wrong people you have around you, the less chances of the better person being in that circle because the space is already taken. I want you to talk
Hmm.
about two things. I don't want to forget, so I'll say them, and if I forget, someone will remind me. Two things. What is the role of the people that we keep around us, and how do we choose our team? You know, how do we know who is supposed to ride with us or someone who's supposed to go? That's one. And then two, you talked about stigmatization, and I want to link that to your industry, where there's in Hollywood there was a Me Too movement that went viral. So a lot of people are coming out in the industry now to talk about that in Nollywood.
No. Yeah.
So, yeah, I want you to, as a veteran, what can you do to ensure that this does not happen again, or is it out of your control?
Well, it is not out of my control, but my attitude to contributing to things that will make society better is you can see I'm wearing a T-shirt right now that says it starts with me.
Oh,
No matter how small your little space is, are you doing the best that you can do there in your little space? Are you making a difference in the little space that you find yourself? Are you advocating for better rights to women? Are you advocating for women not to be for gender-based violence to be stopped? If you have a platform, are you using your platform to help people find their voice? So when it started here in Nigeria, a lot of people came out and started saying things about people that have sexually harassed them or have raped them and all of that. I have been privy to cases where we wanted to pursue some cases, and the women that were involved, the victims that were involved, refused to prosecute or to let us go further than we wanted to go. Those are some of the cases, and then there are some other ones that will come out and people will say, no, it never happened. Why are you coming out now? And all of that. So it's been a seesaw thing,
yeah.
in Nigeria. Again, because of how our whole society is structured, very patrilineal and again, fear of stigmatization. Families saying, "Look, leave this thing. We don't want it. We don't want to press charges. She will be fine if you make it public. She won't find a husband later on in life or something." So all of that is are things that are militating, against some of these things that would have gone a lot more that would have been a lot more widespread or a lot more militant, for lack of a better word. But people are finding their voices gradually, and I hope that with standards also now being put at a level where it is no longer about the casting couch. You don't have to know a producer or a director to be able to get into a film. auditions are being called openly. You do your audition now on your phone, you send it. If your talent is good enough, people will take you. I have a friend who sent me a text from nowhere today, telling me that, reminding me of where we met. She's my sister. The daughter just did an audition for something, and she hears that it's with connection. If you don't have connection, you can't you can't qualify. And I said to her, look, I don't know anything about influencing this thing your daughter just did, but I can assure you that the name you just mentioned, the people you just mentioned that are doing this, if your daughter has the talent, she will be taken, she will be selected. And to my surprise, she replied and said, my thoughts exactly. I didn't want to disturb you. I didn't want to call you to say, go and help me talk to these people, because I said to my daughter that, look, if you are talented enough, they will take you. I don't need to call anybody. And I was happy for the mother's reaction, because some other mothers would say, you just don't want to help me or help my daughter. That's why you're telling me all of this. You did somebody not help you? So sometimes too, our people get it wrong. They don't really know how some of these things work. But women are finding their voices. Women are as talented as men are. There are even young ones who will tell you these days that, look, if the audition is not out in the open and all of that, they will not attend. So the incidence of having to tell you, oh, come and see me in my hotel room after the audition doesn't have to arise. A lot of people don't. A lot of also the young girls, because they are also desperate, don't know any better. And so they are willing to do anything. Sometimes it is the reverse. It is not only men that prey on women. Sometimes it is the absolute reverse, where it is the women, who are desperate to be out there, that actually will prey on the producers and say, look, I would do anything to get this role that I'm doing. I remember when I was in Asaba, there were tales that I heard about girls that would bring their cars, even pay production people to be put in their films. They will lend their cars to producers and directors, even pay to be put in the posters of the film. No matter how small a role, it's something similar to what they were doing to you guys in music. When a musician would do a single and pay somebody in Alaba to pirate his own song or her own song, and make sure when you are doing your top 20 songs this next month, put my own. Here's some money, put my song in number 1 or something. It got that ridiculous in Nigeria. So everything is on his head, when it comes to these parts. But all of that is being sorted out. Thank God for technology. Thank God for all the things, the new platforms that are available. So there is a lot more work for actors and actresses in Nigeria. And a lot of them, there's a lot of TV work. There's a lot of alternative work, just as Lagos is vibing and running with big blockbuster films. As am I still there producing films. Iroko is there, Ebony Life is there. There are all kinds of platforms. African Magic is there. All kinds of platforms. Just there's Nevada Bridge TV now. Vivo, all kinds of things. So the opportunities are a lot more, and so the incidence of trying to make sure that every girl must go through a casting couch has, greatly been reduced. And of course, some of us are lending our voices to that to make sure that doesn't happen. Your other question was what?
Team around you.
Your team. Look, I can tell you something about team. One of the fears I had, the biggest fear I had when I was leaving government in 2014, was that I was sure of one thing. I wasn't really interested in staying and vying for public office. I knew that I could come back and do my business and all that, but I also love to act. And the way I've structured my life, I do my business, other things that I do, investments and all that, whilst I act on the side. And I don't know how to do just one thing. I'm constantly juggling 3 or 4 professions at the same time, all the time. And so one of the things I did when I came out was to look for a team of young people. I had left the game for a while. And I knew that the things had changed, a lot of things had changed, and I wasn't going to just jump in and rely on my knowledge of what I knew of Nollywood in the past. And so I put this young team together, and we will have all kinds of fights. they said, oh, they made me join social media, And I remember the first photo shoot that we did. My stylist at the time, who was also a member of my staff, said to me, they call me Papa. They say, Papa, you have to put on, you tucking your trousers into your boots. I'm like, no, 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 no. But I'm Papa Tegan. How can I do this? They said, no, this is what is trending now. Do that. So we will fight, we'll argue, but at the end of the day, I was like, this is your world. I'm just beginning to learn your world, and I had to unlearn a lot of the things and a lot of the views that I knew, and started working with them as I mentored them about life's principles and all of that. They mentored me back. They taught me things in return that I started working on, and here I am today. A few years after, I've been rehabilitated, so to speak. I can now post pictures on my own. I still can't do a few things, but I can do most, So the team is very important. You must put a team that is forward looking around you when it comes to business and all of that. And then for my grief, when I was going through my grief and all that, you have to have people with positive vibes, because negative energy is so depressing. Negative energy is so depressing. And sometimes you cannot choose some of the people that come around you, because some might be family and all that. But once you notice the ones that have negative energy, you can dispense with them. You can tell them to stay away. You can keep them at arm's length. They can be hovering around, but they cannot be part of your inner circle. Let me tell yes, one of the things that, let me give you a small example of how the things some people will not consider important. And if he's listening, or if anybody who knows him is listening, you should say, take this to him. Ali Baba was one of those who made life easier for me when I lost my wife. Oliver would come every evening, sit with me. When he comes in, I would just, the minute he walks in, I'll just start laughing. He will come in, he will crack jokes, he will tell me all kinds of things. He will make me laugh for hours on end, poking fun at me, telling me all kinds of things, just to make me laugh. By the time he's leaving, everybody is in stitches. My mood is lighter and all of that. That tells you how everybody around you that knows you can contribute to your well-being. I had friends who all they did was discover books for me, discover things that we talk about what you gain when how God will replace when you lose something, what you gain when you lose something, all kinds of things. There are people who took care of me so much so that I lacked for nothing. My church at the time, my department would send people every evening like clockwork. They would come to my house. They would do praise and worship, like I told you.
Yeah.
And for 1 hour and all of that, whether I joined them or not, they will come in there and they will just start praise and worship. That thing was like a healing balm for me. Every time I heard them singing downstairs, I knew that, there is a God that was just watching over me and was making this whole thing better. Because, at a point I said, I'm never going to marry again. I was afraid that if I marry, my wife will die, and then another wife will die. Then they will say, oh, it is me that's killing them or something. It is so terrible when you lock into a certain mindset, So the people around you, the kind of energy that they bring to you when you are grieving is very, very important. I mentioned my church and my department and my friends. There were people who just cared for me, everything that I needed. Friends, my circle was very, very important. Very, very important, and I'm grateful to all of them for standing by me and making sure that I didn't fall into a deeper depression than they feared that I would.
Wow. Oh, wow. Excellently said. You talked about learning and unlearning.
Mm-hmm.
no disrespect, but your generation don't want to hear. Like, what are you telling me, my friend? Do it like this. And how can you influence an older person to see your perspective? Like letting them see that, listen, what you're doing is extinct. It worked for you, it worked for your time, but they still don't want to learn it. How can you influence an older person to see your point of view?
Look, there are some that won't, no matter what you do. No matter what you do, they will never see your point of view. You know those people that the Bible says you just dust your feet and you walk on and you move on. There are people like that. But the good thing about knowledge, when it is superior, the good thing about superior knowledge is that it comes with light. It comes with enlightenment. Light bulbs will go up in your head and you will see it. I mean, and because I also have a teachable spirit, in law we say, it's a stupid lawyer that will say, God forbid that for anybody to think that a lawyer knows everything. No, I don't know everything. I will be the first to seek superior knowledge in anything that I'm doing. I don't care if it is coming from somebody who is my daughter's age or my son's age or whatever. There are things my daughter tells me today that amazes me, and I just find that, it is true what they say. After a while, the kids you give birth to are the ones who start telling you what to eat and what not to eat. When my little girl, who is 17 now, when she's on holidays, there are things that she says to me sometimes that just leaves me completely, speechless. And you have to. I had kids early in life, and so my kids are friendly with me. I make them get to the point where they know that there are certain lines that I'm old school in terms of morality and all of that, because morality is constant as far as I'm concerned. There are principles of God that has to rule my world. So those ones they know they can't touch. But I'm also sensitive enough to know that times have changed from when I was a child or from when they were kids. And so my son, who is 36 now and a father of two, I can't walk into his house tomorrow and start telling him what to do. The only thing I do, yes, 3 times over. Yes. So all I say to the wife is, listen, if he misbehaves, just tell me, I can still punch, I can still throw a punch, So, I mean, I play with them and I like the energy that positive young people bring to the table. They are very enthusiastic and once you connect with that, it's a two-way street. Learning is not something that is one directional. The time that we went to school, we had to cram things. They wouldn't even let you bring your log table or whatever to the hall. We had to cram 2 times 1 and 2, 2 times 2, 4, and all that. Education has changed. You don't need to put anything in your memory that is available. If I drop in LA today and you tell me where you are, I will rent a car at the airport, put it on Google and on Google Maps or whatever, and I'll drive to you.
Yeah.
Time was when that couldn't happen. You would have to come pick me up at the airport. So life has changed. And so these younger people, they will say, Dad, I don't need to come see you. It's in your phone. Everything is in your phone, And I'm like, but I need... I'm in New York. There was a time I was in New York. I called my daughter up and I said, I need a cab. I said, Dad, download the app. I said, no, I can't download the app. I'm in a hurry, And she gets me a cab from Atlanta. Times have changed. So you need people who can crank things up the way you can't. Everything. My daughter. I use an Android phone. And then I have an iPad. And my daughter says to me every time, Dad, I'm going to buy you an iPhone this year. You're going to have to do everything with iPhone. And it's ironical because my entire family extended and close. My wife, my kids, they are all using iPhones. And I only use my iPad to talk to them. So this year I've decided that, you know what, I'm going to get an iPhone this year. And just stop giving all of them headaches, so that if anything I want, they'll just grab my phone and, and do it, So I love to be able to bow to what science and technology, yes, superior knowledge, and what science, the science the technology that I cannot appreciate right now. I bow to it and let the young people do it for me. I mean, look at us, Bouquie. You are in LA, I'm here, and we are talking.
Yes, yes.
We are doing Instagram Live. Yes, and that's why would you not want to embrace this?
Yeah.
Why would nowadays? I just signed up to a company that does payment solutions. AeroPay, and then you have a wallet. It's a bankless thing, and then I want to transfer your money. It doesn't matter anywhere in the world. I get your account number and I transfer the money to you. Why wouldn't I embrace technology like that and make my life a lot easier? There are things that I still play my vinyl. I still have my turntable and all that. I do. I do. I love my vinyl. Nothing would separate me from it, but it doesn't stop me from also playing songs from an Apple playlist, or a Boom playlist or something. So yeah.
Wow. And it speaks to your humility, because you said you have a teachable spirit, and that is, so I said older people, but even in our generation and the generations below me, some people don't have that teachable spirit. They get offended. They get offended when you try to correct them. I mean, I've heard over and over some people saying, it's not personal. I'm not rejecting you. I'm just rejecting the method you're bringing. It's not about you, but some people cannot separate when you say no to them, and then when you say no to their person, they just get hurt and take it personal. Yeah.
It's gradual, but they will have to. I mean, if COVID-19, this whole break, if it didn't teach us anything, it has taught us that, look, you have to be able to pause at some point in your life, look at your environment, see what's going on, and breathe and begin to accept certain things. If Africa before now was not ready for the digital revolution, now more than ever, Africa has to step up. Yes. Otherwise, you'll be left in the lurch. You can't but embrace technology. Look at what happened during the lockdown. Logistical companies were the ones who were locked up in our houses. People were cooking in their homes. You make a call or you order through your phone, and somebody rides in a bike and delivers food to you. How cool is that? You don't have to cook anymore. I mean, what's the point in not embracing that kind of technology? Why embrace only one that can serve you food and not embrace the other one that can do your banking for you? So it's with time, a lot of things will change. Look, our attitudes are going to change towards everything that has to do with congregating or confluencing with people or whatever, because now we can confluence without having to be physical.
Yeah.
We've always had online services before, but imagine what online services will be like now in the next 5 years, because there are a lot of people who are going to have to be multitasking now, put on online, church and be in the kitchen doing some other things. If you have to work on Sundays now and you can't make church, you put on your online. You attend the online at whatever, or you record it and you play it over, later on. So life can be a lot easier if you embrace certain things that technology provides the solutions for.
Yeah, absolutely. While you were speaking, you mentioned, I am a passionate person and I like to do many things at the same time. And we call that being a multi-potentialite. So you can act, you can sing, you can dance, so for people listening that have like many talents, I want you with your story to tell us your defining moment when you knew it was acting for you. How you knew it was acting, and what other talents did you have, and how did you know that the key was acting?
Well, for me, the key was acting because in my generation, when I was growing up, television was very novel, and I wanted to be in front of a television. And since I couldn't read the news, like Shola Omole at the time, or John Momo at the time, or CNN Owe Brown at the time, you know, I knew I could act, and so there were things on television that needed actors and all that. So for me, it was a question of I would like to get on there. And also, it was also, for me, it was not the end, it was not the last bus stop for me. It was not the be all and end all for me. It's one of the many talents that I have. I could write. In the process, I have, like I said, I have never held one job down in my life. No, I am constantly juggling things. I'm a lawyer today. I still do roundtable conferences with lawyers who want to do IP. I go to chambers and I speak about intellectual property and trademarks and all of that. I do that. I earn money from buying rights from people, from talking about rights to people, from writing opinions about performance rights and all of that. I consult for companies. I teach. I'm a life coach. I teach entrepreneurs how to make money. I say to people that I'm not an entrepreneur, but I can teach an entrepreneur a thing or two about process, about branding, about staying consistent, about reinvention, and all of that. So I love to inspire people when I talk. So it is one of the many things that I do. What acting has done for me is to give me a platform to be seen, and in the process of seeing me, people then begin to discover that there are other talents that this guy has. I'm a connoisseur of whiskeys. I do whiskey immersions almost every year. I can talk about whiskey. I've earned money educating people on whiskey. So there are things that are hidden. There are little hidden things that I have that I teach. I'm a teacher. I love to teach. I hold workshops, and people will say to me, "Oh, start an acting school and all of that." There are things that I'm passionate about that I don't necessarily set out to make money out of, but because I love to just impart knowledge, I love to share what I have, what I know inside of me. I love to share, and if in the process we can discipline it to bring money in, fine. There are people that have said to me, you have to do a podcast, you have to start doing podcasts and all of that. So there are so many things on my table that people have said to me, you must do. And I was like, okay, if I have the right team to do that, I'll probably end up doing it. Or people will say to me, you have to be on radio at some point in your life. I'm like, yeah, I'd like to do radio. So there are many things that, I've always wanted to do. But like you said, the defining moment for me is just knowing that acting will get me in front of camera and it will give me a platform to be able to showcase every other thing that I have and put me in people's faces and then open doors for me, to doing other things. Wow. I enjoy the looks on people's faces when I go to some places and they say he's an actor, but he's also a lawyer and he's here today as a lawyer to speak to us on XYZ. And people are like, oh, okay, so you're a lawyer. I didn't know that. So it's very interesting. Like, oh, I go to some corporate shows. I walk into a boardroom and they're like, oh, RMD is here with us today. Well, you all know him as an actor, but today he's not here as an actor. He's going to talk to us about, processes and all of that. So, I enjoy that. It has opened doors for me.
Yeah. Wow. What you're talking about is a scripture that says the gift of a man will make room for him. And
that's right.
The way I interpret that is it's like going into a crowded room and clearing your throat. When you clear your throat, that's what the gift, a lot of people don't understand it. They feel the gift, like you said, is the end. It's like going into a crowded room, you clear your throat or you raise a glass and you clink it, you catch people's attention. Then what do you have to say? Because if the gift is the gift by something, you clear your throat and then everybody looks at you, you're like, actually, I just want
to it's what lays inside. Yeah.
So it's supposed to open the door to other things. Yes. You mentioned something that struck me. You said that if you can discipline it enough to make money, Oh, that's deep. Break it down. So I have break it down, please.
Well, you know what it is. A lot of us who are very passionate, creatives in general, creatives. I'm a creative, you are a creative. Creatives are driven more by the
Passion.
need to just passion, the need to just create. Now, when you again, this comes about talks about the circle you move in and all that. So when you find somebody who can see that and come to you and say, you know what, I can see what you do. I see you're a good painter, but trust me, I know how to. I can put every of your painting into the right frames. I get them to so and so person, put them in the right frames. I get them to a gallery, and I'm going to be able to have some connect. I'm going to write to a few people and bring in the top-notch people to come see your exhibition. I just want you there that day. Put on a small tie. You know, they like to see people all dressed up. Put on a small tie and just say a few things about your paintings and watch me work. Go to work. You know, so that is putting it, you know, trying to streamline your passion or break it down into a process that can bring some money, you know, in and that begins to add value, more value to what you do. What would the actors be like if we don't have people like Mo Abudu? You know, who will say, you know what, I have a dream to put a film together that has 20 or 40 stars, you know, and she has the ability to be able to go, you know, around the corporate world and get financing for the film and everything, get the hotels, cost the whole thing to be put together and be produced. In the process, the cinema owner gets a good film, the actor gets cast, the cameraman gets cast, and all of that. That is putting it all together. That is why the copyright law says that it is the man or the person who causes everything to be put together that owns it. You know, so our lives will not have the meaning that it has if all our talents and our different callings cannot be disciplined and put into built into an ecosystem that can you can now begin to exchange it for value, you know, exchange it and get money and all of that, and then begin to, it even gives you room to expand your creativity and do a lot more, build your capacity, you know. So that's what it is for me.
Wow.
I from people hearing me speak at different places in churches and all that, they say, look, boy, come, I have a conference that I'm doing in Abuja tomorrow. I'm speaking to young people. You know, I just want you to come and talk for 1 hour or for 30 minutes or 20 minutes. You know, how much do you charge? And so you begin to put that into your something that you can discipline yourself about, time yourself and all of that, do a little bit more research so that when you talk to people, you're able to, you know, really galvanize them and let them live their potential. Because not all teachers are rich people, but, you know, they will grow, you know, rich people all their lives, and that becomes their wealth. You know, I was reading about some guy in, I think it was on social media, I was reading about a guy who started out as a gardener or so in a university, ended up in the surgical department, and from holding cadavers when doctors were operating, he learned how to do stitches. So when there is an operation, he will stitch and all that. And after a while, he became like a surgeon himself. And every professor and all the students that will come to the university in South Africa will pass through him. He will teach them how to stitch and all of that, stitch up, you know. So, I mean, you can be anything that you want to be, you know, so long as you get the right person that will see it, you know, and then, you know, calibrate the process, as it were, for you, and give it a lot more value and put some money on your table.
Yes, and you are ready to put in the work too. Yes.
Absolutely.
What you're saying brings to my mind what they say: there's something you have, find it, refine it, and give it commercial value. You know,
that's right. That's right.
Until the process is complete, until you start making money from it, you know, the process isn't complete. Wow. You talked about being an actor, and we know you. By the way, you said something at the beginning of this show. My Agbero side is coming out. You said you're not as fantastic as some actor you mentioned. I beg to differ. You are our own fantastic. You know, so you said you're an actor. We know you're an actor. How do you balance your faith and your roles? How do you pick the roles? And then how do you purge yourself after the role? You know how some people do crazy like mental. How do you purge yourself from, that after inserting yourself into that character?
Thank God for training. There's something called depersonalization. All right, it's a process. The same process you use in entering into a character is the same process you use in coming out of it. I'll simplify it for you. Traditionally, acting means putting on a mask. So the minute the guy who carries a gungu or who carries agaba or who wears a masquerade, when he goes into the shrine or whatever where they are going to prepare him, they'll put his raffia around him, and when they've done everything, finally they carry the mask and they wear it on his face. The minute that mask comes onto his face, his persona changes, right? And so he begins to speak differently. It's the same thing. My name is Richard Mofe-Damijo. I want you to play Segun Kadiri. The minute I say my name is Segun Kadiri, that's it. My mask is there. All right? So when I finish playing the Segun Kadiri and the director says cut, and it's like, oh, that was nice today, and like, oh, R&D, that was really nice. And then you are slapping people, high five and all that. That's it. You depersonalize. You come out of it. So for me, because I have the training, that symbol of that physical symbol of removing the mask and putting it on is what I do in my mind. I have taken on the character. I have taken it. I've come out of the character. So if you visualize for yourself wearing the mask and taking it off, that's it. You'll get out of it.
Wow.
How do I balance my faith with my acting? They are two different things. And everything for me is to the excellency of God. That is what I do. I strive for perfection, knowing that I can never be perfect. But because I am constantly striving for perfection, you will always see me in the path of perfection. Okay? And because of that, what I look for, therefore, in every character that I play is the redemptive value of that character. Does it have a redemptive value? Is there some kind of poetic justice that works with natural justice? Because poetic justice is just a funky name for natural justice. If it is not repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience, then it is okay for me to do it. I can play a bad guy who slept with all the women in the world and all of that, but did he find redemption? Did he pay a price for what he has done? How did he find the redemption? What is the redefining moment for him? Will people connect with that and see that all of that was vanity and this is the real core of his being? That, for me, is what anchors my choices for characters and all of that. So that if there is no redemptive value, if it is just mindless violence or mindless Casanova work and all that, I will shy away from it. I love to have some redemptive value in whatever it is that I do. Because if that is not there, then there is nothing to hang on to. I am not a child, I'm not a complete child of the West. I have been influenced by the West. But because I'm a Nigerian child, drama for me always comes with a moral tale at the end, or what I call the redemptive value at the end. And so if that is not there, it makes it hollow. We do art not just for its sake alone, we also do art for life. My average Oyibo man will do art for art's sake. But I'm a Nigerian. I do art for art and art for life. What is the whole point of my art if it does not in any way impact life in a positive light? So that's the difference. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't have any problem kissing a girl because I'm Christian. No, I don't. It's my work. I would do it so well that you would forget that I'm acting. That's my job, to transfer you and transport you and make you escape into that world. It's a universe that I work in at that point. And the minute you are in that, you come into that universe, you suspend disbelief, you suspend everything else. You finish 90 minutes later or 2 hours later, you're like, oh boy, that was nice. That was nice. Yeah. Did you see what he did at the end? Or did you see what he did at the point where you thought that he was going to go ahead and kill that person? And he was like, no, I'm a new man. I'm renewed. I've changed and all of that. Because you will find that most good movies that you enjoy are the ones that take you on a journey of self-discovery. In the process of the person taking you on that journey, the person discovers his true nature or himself or the core of his being or the essence of his being, and then begins to take life or do things differently. That is what makes us enjoy films, because you don't find a one-dimensional character and then you will enjoy it. No, you see a guy who is struggling, toddling, and suddenly he begins to find his rhythm, and then he finds his rhythm, and then the influences he meets along the way. Sometimes he misses the road, he takes a wrong turn, and suddenly somebody forces him back to the right track. And after that, he sees the wrong turn again and says, never again will I be fooled twice. I ain't going left, I'm going straight this time around. And people will begin to cheer, like, oh, he didn't go to the left this time, And we all, join in his journey of discovery and of him finding himself. After all, that is what we all are. We are all actors on earth. We have a limited time to play our roles, play them so damn well that every of our audience watching not only empathize with us, but empathize and sees our heart and want to be better and not make the mistakes that we made in trying to show them the better path to their destinies. That is what we all are. I always, when I teach even entrepreneurs, I always say that what is the point of a product? When you have a product, whether it's an iPhone or a computer or whatever, what do you want to do? You want somebody to be able to use it to enhance his life or her life. So what is the point in making sure that when you're trying to sell that product to the person, you are not reaching the core of that person? So that is what an actor does. An actor comes on stage, a guy comes into the theater, you don't know what baggage he's carrying from his home and everything. He wants you to take him away temporarily, albeit temporarily, from whatever baggage he brought into that hall and just elevate him into the clouds, for that time. In the process, he might find something, a line or two. After, when it's all done, he will go home a changed person. It could have been a play on forgiveness. It could have been a musical on forgiveness. It could have been a song he heard in the thing, and he says, you know what? I knew you messed up today, but I forgive you. Because that is what God, or that is what is my reasonable service to you. But please don't do that again. And he's better again. Somebody is leaving the house crying or not sure of what to do. He's in the car, suddenly a song is playing on the radio. The DJ or the radio presenter comes on and says, hey, I don't care what you're going through this morning. I don't care whether you're in traffic and nothing. Your landlord has just given you quick notice that, look, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, go get to that office today. Smile like the whole world, like you own the whole world. Don't wear your problems on your shoulders. Smile. So says Davido or Burna Boy or Wizkid or whatever, or Sinach, or the Waymaker is there. He's got you. That's what life is. You will find, you connect with something that will change your journey for that day and influence the remaining part of your journey for life.
Wow.
That's what we do.
Wow. 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 Listen, guys, Is Uncle Richard the baddest or is he the baddest? Tell me, just say baddest, baddest. I want to see what people say baddest. Uncle Richard, because you're talking about things that nobody's teaching us. Nobody's telling this generation about the core of your being. A lot of people they take what is projected on them. This is who you are. Society says this. Television says this. Music says this. So ladies and men, boys and girls are losing their identities daily. And go ahead.
Sorry, I think people are actually, but again, you talked about the circle around you, you talk about the choices that we make and all of that. It is easier. It is just easier to just grab all the garbage that is around you and just chew them up. It's like making a healthy meal. It takes some time. You need to take the chicken, skin it, cut off the fat, pan fry it or grill it. It's just a lot easier to chop it all up, put the oil to the boil and just pour everything in it and let them, boil and just or fry and bring it out and just chew. That's why it's called fast food. Don't do fast. Don't let your entire life be ruled by fast,
quick
food or quick shortcuts. Sometimes the process can be painful. I just told you I have lost 14 kg, since the month of May or April, and there are people who, when they were going into the lockdown, already resigned to the fact that they will be fat at the end of it all. But in all of that, I've also seen people who said to themselves, "This is my time to dedicate to myself when I don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. to take that bus to work." I've always been saying that, oh God, I wish when I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, it is to walk or jog or go do something and get healthy or do something. Oh, this is the time I'm going to read all those books in my shelf. Now that I don't have to go to some work at 6 o'clock and stay in some traffic for 3 hours to get home. What did you do with 5 months? March, April, May, June, July, August. 6 months. What did you do with September? What did you do with your 6 months? Did you just sit down at home and get fat? Or did you read those books in your shelf? My wife has always been, when we're going to the lockdown, I said to my wife, oh God, she knows I love to read. And she says, and I said, babes, I'm going to read. Oh, thank God, I'm going to read. And she's like, okay. So after the first 1 week, like, I've not seen any book. You are not reading. You are not reading. She actually even prepared a place for me in our bedroom where there's like a small, he said, stay there, read. I know what reading does to you. Please read, It took me a while to find my reading, to start reading. And then I called my daughter up and then she gave me books and I started reading. You have to make conscious, deliberate choices and try and sustain them. When I tell you one thing that happened and the joy I got when during this lockdown, when it started, I would come out every evening unfailingly. From the next day after the lockdown, I will walk between 5 and 7 p.m. in my estate. Bouquie, by the end of the first month, everybody in my estate was walking.
Wow.
Families, everybody will come out and they will greet. It was later on that they would say, one or two would stop there and say, you are the one that caused all this nonsense in this estate. I said, but you don't enjoy it. And everybody started walking. People, it became like a real joke because in the evenings, we all would just pour onto the streets of the estate and that's where we see each other, say hi, neighbors you have never seen before, and something just started to happen again. And when we started to contribute food and all of that and money to send to people outside who were hard up and all of that, it became easier because we saw ourselves every evening. We say hi, we smile to everybody, keep it up, that kind of thing. And so a certain positive vibe and spirit just enveloped the entire estate and all that. So it tells you that sometimes you just have to be very intentional, very deliberate about what you want to do, about how you want to do it. You might not get it right from the beginning, but if there is, once you have good company that will prod you up, once in a while to do it. Look, every time I'm in the gym and my instructor gives me heavier weights, sometimes I see the weight and I'm like, no, Uzi, I'm not doing this. I says, yes, you can, Papa, you can. I was like, but I can't. It's too heavy. It's 15 kg. Say you will do it. And how they will pump you up and all that, and then you do it. Sometimes you need to be encouraged to achieve the goals that you need to achieve, but you have to first have the willingness to even step up first and be seen and be available to even do the work. And then God will line the men and the women that will help you along in your journey.
Wow. God will bring the people and align them with, oh my gosh, that is amazing. I think that's the best way. I know that this is over 1 hour. I don't want to keep you.
I'm amazed. Yeah, we have to stop.
Interesting conversationalists, and that's what we need really is. This was the revelation I got. When you put people in a proper environment for learning, there's something about their minds. It switches off. But when it's a TV show and you put the subliminal messages inside, they're like, oh, R&B said this on Bouqui'S show. It's easier to digest than carrying book, because everything you've talked about now, we've read it before. We've read self-improvement, self-development, intentionality, circle of your team around you. We know all these things. But it's more relatable when someone is sharing it as their story. Yes, so
absolutely.
Thank you so much. If you were to do it over, what would you change?
I would love to have the ability to wake up a lot earlier than I do, because every time I wake up earlier, I achieve a lot more. By noon, I've put in the entire day's work. And so I'm always very happy when I'm in the zone and I'm waking up early. Look, it's priceless to be able to wake up at 5 a.m. or sometimes even slightly before 5 a.m. You do your best work. There was a particular day that I woke up about 4 a.m. Bouquet, by 5:30, I had written about 46 pages. It's amazing. It's amazing how quiet it can be. And it's just you and your paper or your computer or your phone or whatever. Don't spend it all on catching up on social media. Sometimes you just have to hide that phone and don't catch up. Don't play catch up. Do something that self-improves. Tiny little goals. I want to read 2 little things today. There are times I play with Google a lot. There are times when I go to Google and I want to learn something new, and I do stuff like that so that I can just improve. At the end of today, I will say, oh, I gained one thing today. I gained a new word today. Like I said, I have the mind of a child sometimes. I maybe because I played too much when I was younger, or I had kids too early, and so I'm constantly playing and rolling on the floor with my kids. But it has helped me. I won't change much in my life. I want to be on fire for God. I want to be able to pack in a lot more hours into my 24 hours and just achieve a lot more. I'm grateful for what I've done so far, for where I am. I'm healthy. I have a fantastic family. My family support is great. I won't change any of that for anything. I just want to be a more effective and functional human being. There's always room for improvement.
Yeah. Wow, amazing. Did you know your wife was my teacher in secondary school when she did her IT?
I think you told me that. I'll tell her again today. I told her I had an Instagram live, and so I'll let her know that it's you. Yes.
Wow, listen, we love you so much. We thank you for all the point. You see, what people don't understand is it's easy for me to say I want to do something when I see someone that has gone ahead of me and done it. A lot of people don't understand that the fact that I'm walking in a jungle or forest and I see footpath, like a footpath, is because someone has gone before me.
That's right.
Even if I still have to come and clear it so that it's better, the fact that there's a way is because somebody went before me, you know. So we want to say thank you for going before us to make the way so that we can see that, listen, these things that we have in our minds, we're not crazy. They are achievable. You're over 60, you're a grandfather, and you're still killing it on the silver screen. I do not want to start throwing shade, but I'm telling you, you are a phenom. I don't know. Give me word. People, give me English to use to qualify. We love you so much. Thank you so much for your humility. Thank you for your availability to pour into us. You are my first album launch at a hotel. You are my MC. You understand? It's not just enough to say I'm calling a gathering. I want to empower young people. If you're not showing it in your actions to us, we just feel so detached from it. So thank you so much for being you. Thank you for pouring into us. Thank you for your wealth of knowledge. And God bless you. Everything you lay your hands on will prosper.
Amen. Amen.
Are you working on any movie or anything right now?
Yes, I am. I'm actually going into camp on Saturday. I'm working with Kemi Adetiba in a film in the sequel, King of Boys. And then there's yes, I have a small role in there, so I'm looking forward to that. I haven't worked with her again since we did Wedding Party. I'm doing a major documentary on a Nigerian legend. That is in the works, and of course, the one I'm losing weight for, that is the big one. That is the big one. You guys will see me in ways that you've never seen me before. I'm fighting, I'm boxing, I'm doing all kinds. I'm doing weapons handling. I've been going through intense training, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking real forward to this. Yes.
Wow.
So yes, there's plenty of, because of the lockdown, there's a lot of work that we've moved towards this period, you know. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to doing all of that.
Wow, I wish you all the very best. You guys can find his movies on Netflix. You can follow him on Mofe-Damijo at Mofe-Damijo. And what is your YouTube channel?
It's the same thing, Richard Mofe-Damijo. Yes.
Yes.
You'll find excerpts from Mr. X that you use.
Yes.
You know, and Made in Warrior and all kinds of things. Yes, you will.
We love you so much. We love you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. All right. Bye.